Welcome back to Trauma and Tea. I'm Matt, this is Molly, and today we have Courtney, who's a special guest who's come on to talk to us about a very sensitive topic. So, hi Courtney.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, we went to school together.
We did.
And we left in, was it 2012?
It was a long time ago.
So 10 years ago, I think.
Wow.
And yeah, I think we both became pretty young parents. You was definitely the youngest.
I win. Yes, I did. I won that race.
How old did you have when you first?
I was 17 when I got
18 pregnant.
Oh, was you?
Yeah, not far off. And to be honest, anything in the teens is young.
Yeah.
I think you should
There'll always be that.
25. I don't like the round. It's hard.
Free contraception right here.
So yeah, you two met in school.
Yeah.
And but did you stay in good contact?
I think we didn't talk every day, did we? But we always made a point to check in with each other. How's life? How you doing? And it's always the same thing of
we can always talk to each other, and it's like years haven't passed.
100%.
It's one of those.
Yeah,
Nice.
it is. It's fab, fair play.
Yeah.
We've always been meaning to catch up, and sometimes life just gets in the way. But like you said, it's just easy. It's one of those friendships that's just effortless.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
When we've spoken, when we won't have spoken for years, it feels like yesterday.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I know we hadn't seen each other in a while, and then when my son Wyatt passed away, we started talking again, didn't we? You came to the funeral, and yeah, we were fab through that time, fair play.
That's really nice you on that though.
Yeah.
Do you have much support in that time? With friends, family and everything?
I did. Family were amazing. It's just such a difficult thing that is hard to navigate being around a person like me during that time, because what do you say? What do you do? And
What do you do? Yeah.
the real answer is nothing. There's nothing you can do.
I mean, obviously, I'm new to your story.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I know that he passed away. So, can I ask, how when did it happen?
Yeah, of course.
Do you mind going into it?
So Wyatt was 7 days old. It was, I remember so vividly, because I had bought a milestone blanket and it was personalised, and I was so excited to use this blanket. So I remember the day before, I was like, I get to use this blanket tomorrow, it's going to be brilliant. So this is in 2017, I don't know if I mentioned that. On the 10th of December, he was born on the 3rd. And I woke up, I was breastfeeding him. I fed him at 5 o'clock. I remember we were on the sofa, because he had this thing where he was heaving, do you know, as babies do, they have the build-up of mucus. And yeah, it just really put me on edge. So I was sleeping downstairs with him on my chest, just in case. I was worried if he was laying on his back that he wouldn't be able to bring it up. Yeah, so I was really on edge.
I think being a young mother as well is natural. Any mother, you don't just go into this hyper intense
100%.
mother lioness.
Yeah, and I wasn't a teen mum with Wyatt, but I feel like when you've been a teen parent, there's always that stigma. There's always the need to prove yourself. Always. I am doing a good job, and
sometimes if it's the same for any.
I always wonder that.
I think everyone feels the same in some respect.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not talked about enough, actually.
No, definitely not. There's always this just insane pressure to be amazing, be not the best, because we're all just winging it, really, aren't we?
Yeah. Do you feel like social media has a lot to do with it, though?
100%. You get the...
I'm a great mother.
Yes. Look how clean my house is. My house could never. My kids walk into it and it just suddenly there's toys everywhere. And I don't think the bad side, it's not that these sides are bad, but I don't think the other side is shown enough, because...
Yeah, the real struggle.
Yeah, who wants to say they're struggling online is this was hard. And that's why I pride myself on my Instagram, that I'm real. And I think that's how I connect well with people through that, is because I will show my Mercy house. Yeah, it's like, this is what a house looks like. It's okay if your house looks like people live there. It's okay.
Well, it's lived in for years.
Yeah, exactly that.
It's supposed to be a home.
No, it's
Yeah.
not home.
My kids will always be comfortable in my house. They'll never be like, oh no, you can't move that and things like that. No, absolutely not. It's, the chaos. I strive in the chaos.
So when I passed, do you know what happened? Is there a reason to his passing?
Yeah, so he died of, it's such a word, bronchopneumonia. Essentially, his lungs were filled with liquid. Given how severe it was at only 7 days old, me in the hospital can only assume that I had strep B and he contracted that.
Okay.
And that's how, which again, I had never heard of. Wyatt was my third child. I had never heard of
It's
it.
funny, innit? Because I'm pretty sure my mum had strep.
Yeah.
And it is quite, it's not a common, but it's not.
No.
As unheard of as it's not, you know what I mean?
And is
It's not talked about enough. Really.
no, and it can, well, it does kill babies. You can get meningitis. No, because they didn't test me for it. It's a test you have to either ask for, and I think I might be wrong. I don't know if you have to pay for it as well, which I would have been absolutely fine doing.
Yeah, but come on, you shouldn't really have to.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Especially if you're not aware of that. To me, that's.
I had no idea. And again, like, my third child, and I'd never heard of this. And essentially, they contract it when they go down your birthing canal. So they contract it from you.
Yes.
But again, we'll never know because I was never tested for it. But it looks like that.
Did you feel a bit like unjustificated when that?
Oh, 100%. And not only that, guilty. Like, I felt so guilty because, like I said, essentially he got it from me. So it's like I killed him, and there was so many aspects of guilt that I felt. Like, not only there was that was a big part, and like I think I said the morning he died, I was holding him and I had fed him at 5 o'clock in the morning, and this was always made sure I'd remember what was on telly. I had the telly on in the background just for like background noise. How I Met Your Mother was on telly. I could tell you exactly which episode. And I was laying there, I'd fed him, I put him back on my chest, and I wasn't even tired. And this is the part that really, really got to me, because I wasn't tired. But because it was 5 o'clock in the morning, I thought, go on, I'll lay down, I'll doze back to sleep. And then I woke up at 9 and he was dead. And in that moment, just the not knowing I looked at him and he was limp. So I brought him forward. I was tapping his back, thinking that would do something. I screamed to his dad, who was just on the other end of the sofa. I was like, he's not breathing. I don't know what to do. So he phoned an ambulance and I started CPR on Wyatt then. Yeah. He had gone to the front door for signal, and I think when he was in the process of being on the front doorstep, he knocked out a neighbour's door. And because again, you're so frantic, you just don't know what to do. Yeah. And he said, the baby's not breathing, he's not okay. And my neighbours were brilliant. We were really, really good with our neighbours. So I had taken Wyatt, not on my doorstep, but my front door on the inside, and I had put him on the floor there because they were giving me instructions on what to do on the phone to his dad. So I was doing CPR, I was rubbing his hands. My neighbour in the meantime had run up, I think 10 doors away from me, was a nurse. So she brought her down. I remember her walking up, there was steps leading to my old house, and she was in her dressing gown and she was like, come on nurse, I can help. I was like, okay, brilliant, amazing. But that's when I noticed, because if you remember 2017 in December, we had snow. And it was on that day, and I remember looking down onto the road and it was white. And I just, it was the first time I've ever been sad to see snow, or just utterly terrified, because I was like, they're not going to get it.
Oh God, yeah.
The ambulance, it was on a hill. I was like, there's just no chance they're going to be able to get you on time. And I was absolutely terrified. And then the nurse, she had taken over CPR. I was, again, rubbing his hands and his feet for his circulation. Again, no clue. I was just following instruction. And as she was doing the CPR, we were both so hopeful, and we didn't realise that it was just completely normal and it didn't mean he was okay. But after she had blown into his mouth, he was like releasing the breath, like making this cutest little, huh. And we were like, oh my God, did you hear that? Like, that's amazing. That means he's okay. He's going to be okay. And now I know it was just her air coming back out of his lungs. And so, yeah, we did that for what felt like forever. The ambulance finally showed up.
When you say finally, did they take a long time?
Probably not. It felt
like forever.
It did. And they probably did take a little bit longer because there was snow everywhere. I remember at that time they were using like 4x4s to take people to work and stuff, because that was the first bit of snow we'd had in so long, and we're just not equipped to deal with snow in this country. We're really not.
No.
So they came. If I remember right, for some reason they tried to call another ambulance. I don't think they had the equipment. They wanted to work on him there and then in the ambulance, and I don't think they had something. So they phoned or they radioed into the other ambulance, and they wouldn't have got to us before we got to the hospital. So I remember the woman saying, it's fine, we'll just go. Like, so she scooped Wyatt up, and we went into the ambulance. And this is a side note. I can laugh about this now. I can, because I'm so far past. In the moment, it wasn't funny.
No.
But when I look back, it's like, it is a little bit funny, because I had a bra on because I was nursing Wyatt. I was leaking milk constantly. So, and I had run out of pads. I had 2 nappies in my bra, 2 baby nappies hanging out of my bra, Christmas pajama bottoms, and that was it. So I grabbed a dressing gown just to cover myself, and on the way to the ambulance then I fell, because again, snow everywhere. Thank God I wasn't holding the baby. But yeah, that was just, I look back at that now and I'm like, God, that is a little bit funny.
That's quite inspiring now, I think, that you can do that. I do think that's inspiring. That's a sign of healing.
Yeah.
And that is a good sign of healing.
Oh, definitely.
To be honest, it sounds like, especially now we think, it was strep.
Yeah.
Chances are there was no reviving.
No, there was,
And you probably know that now.
Yeah.
Now you know more about what's happened.
Yeah. If we had just done a little more, if the CPR went longer, could we have saved him? I know now we couldn't have. It
was just an unfortunate event.
100%, yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So the fact that these elements of that day, that traumatic day, that you can learn about it. You shouldn't feel guilty for that.
No, you've got to find things to help you through that. And if it's like finding the little funny moments in a moment that's not funny, it's like there is not even.
I think that's really inspiring.
Yeah, thank you.
I do.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
So obviously you get to the hospital.
Yeah.
What happens next?
So we got there. I think they already knew that there was a big chance he was gone and he wasn't coming back. Once we got there, they took him off to a room. He was on a bed in the ambulance, and the woman had carried him. She said, I'm going to run. And I was like, right, okay, I'll run with you. So,
she was there, really.
Honestly, they were amazing, absolutely amazing. So she picked Wyatt up. The other nurse who was there helped, like, just walk with me and baby's dad. So she ran, she took him to the hospital room. We got taken to a separate room. And again, looking back, they knew, because you don't see these lovely rooms in hospitals. You don't. It was like, you could tell it was a room for people who were grieving. Yeah. That was very clear. And I was terrified. I kept saying, why is the room so nice? Why have they put us in this nice room? Like, I want to go and stand in the corridor. I want to be left on a cold floor. I don't want to have comfort right now. I want the normal things you expect going to the hospital. I want to be uncomfortable, sat on the horrible chairs.
Because that is your norm.
Yes, exactly.
In an odd way, is kind of like what you read it.
Yeah, it was, because you don't want to be instantly taken to there, because you know that's, and you know it's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Is the room you see on TV.
Yeah, the family
Yes,
room.
it is.
Yeah.
Then, again, I don't know if this is the case, why it happened, but this is my interpretation. I think they knew he was gone. They had been working on him. They knew he was gone. There was no coming back. So I think for comfort, they came to the room, a nurse did, and she said, do you want to come in the room to see if you can make a difference just by being there? And I was like, yes, of course. So I went into this room, completely filled with doctors, and on the bed was Wyatt, and he'd never looked so small. He looked tiny.
Against that big room with all that.
Yeah. And
What goes through your mind now? Was that like...
he just looked so small, and I was noticing all the things he had, where obviously they were trying to, I don't even know. I'm not a nurse, but he had these little things with needles inside his knees.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming to try and find a pulse, or when they give you shocks, and maybe it was something to do with that, but I was noticing all these little things, like my baby had these needles in his knees.
Would you rather not seen him like that?
I don't know. I honestly, I couldn't answer that. I really...
What do you think at that time? Do you think you would have rather not go in that room at all? I think you did the right thing, though, to be honest. As a mother,
Yeah.
you be there to know.
Yeah.
It's really hard, like...
I don't know if it would have been better not being there, because then...
You'd be thinking what you could have...
Yeah, he's not. Maybe I could have lost it and said, no, he's fine. What are you on about? I think that was their, like...
Way of getting him to deal with this.
Concerns.
Yes, he's dead. You can see he's dead. You need to see
Without
this.
having to see it.
Yeah. And I think that was... I think it probably was a good idea why they did that. I think not to cover their own backs. Like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I think it probably did. It covered them. So I wasn't a mother just going crazy in this hospital. So I was at the top of the bed. They kept doing CPR on him. They were taking turns. You could just see they were knackered. You could see there was not one person in that room who weren't exhausted, because they all wanted a different outcome. I was stroking his head, crying, begging him to come back. And then the same nurse said, right, that's enough. Come on, let's go. So we got taken back to the lovely room, and I remember this doctor, his face and his voice will always stay with me. He came into the room and he said, we have to stop now. And I screamed. I did. I was like, no, you can't. Absolutely no. But obviously he was gone, and yeah. So
Did you find, after that, did they lead you to any, did they signpost you or to any, like, support?
we had loads of support. So once he died, we got to go and see him. And this room, again, that was once filled with all these doctors, was empty, and there was just one nurse, and she was holding my baby, wrapped in a blanket. And he looked so peaceful. He did. And they said we could have as long as we wanted with him. So we took him to a room. And then a lady came in with this white box. She did his handprints and his feet prints, his footprints. Yeah.
Is that standard in hospitals when you lose babies? They've seen them on the wall.
I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's to do with the charity To Wish Upon a Star.
Okay.
It was set up by a lady whose, I don't want to say son or daughter because I'm not entirely sure, but her child passed away. And then her husband took his own life. So she started the charity to just a little something to help parents who are going through these kinds of things. We got a little elephant that I think Elizabeth, my daughter, my eldest, has in her room. And then Wyatt got to keep one as well. So that got put into his coffin. I changed his clothes because, and that's another thing that people don't realise, when a baby dies in these circumstances, everything is evidence. And his clothes had to be taken, his blanket had to be taken, so he had to be changed into...
Does that elevate stress?
I didn't know why they were taking it at that time. I knew afterwards because I wasn't allowed home. So we spent a bit of time with him. My mother, my nan came. His dad's mother came. And his dad was amazing in that process because I wouldn't have left. I wouldn't have. I was happy. I wasn't happy, but I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm holding my baby. And that's when his dad said, look, it's time to go. Because his lips were starting to turn colour.
Yeah.
So he was like, I don't want to remember him like this. Let's go.
Cause. And like, is it true, if you lose a baby, does some people get to take that baby home 24 hours? Is that a thing? I've heard of it.
We had the option. We didn't have that option. But again, I think that's because it was under investigation.
Because it happened at home.
Yeah. I think if the baby had died in hospital and we were already in hospital, I think that probably would have been something. We got the option when we went to view his body. We did have that. I said, no, I don't want to take him home because I'm not taking him home.
And he saw staying? No.
And I think we had this conversation, didn't we, about going to see him at the funeral home. It was horrendous. It was...
Yeah, to go back a bit and start that.
Okay.
Yeah, section. What happened? So you left the hospital.
We left the hospital, and obviously all I wanted to go home. I just wanted to go home and...
Hold your other kids really tight, I suppose.
They weren't there. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. And looking back now, the way it worked out was... perfect. Is that the right word? It couldn't have been...
They didn't experience it.
They were at their dad's when he was born on a Sunday and he died on the Sunday. He was born on the 3rd, he died on the 10th. So the kids weren't there. And I just think, thank God, because what would I have done if the kids were there? I don't know.
And the thing is, you've got to kind of think about the families that go through this.
Yeah.
Family is
I couldn't have even imagined.
It is. Yeah. It must be really hard for the kids.
100%. But mine was so young as well. So they just... 3 and 5, I want to say. Maybe even 2 and 4. But we left. The kids were...
Trauma.
Literally. I wanted to go home. We couldn't. Because again, circumstances, my house had to be, the police were in my house. They took everything you'd ever touched, slept in.
Did you feel like you did something wrong?
Yeah.
Because of that?
Yeah, I was.
Because I think.
And I totally understand they had to. I completely understand that because.
Did you understand that at the time, or can you remember being in a really weird state of just total despair?
I understood. I was just... Wow. It was taking a while. I remember it was dark and I was at my son's mother's house. Sorry, that was a full circle to just say grandmother. We were at her house. And we were just in the bedroom and we were just broken, absolutely broken. We were just laying in bed. We were crying. And again, side note, it wasn't funny then. It wasn't. But now, it is funny. I cried so much. My eyes swelled and I looked like... I don't even know. I looked like I'd been stung by a bee and my face was swollen.
Reaction.
And yeah, honestly.
Yeah, but I can imagine.
Because I had cried so much. And like in a couple of hours, but we eventually got to go home. The police said, it's fine, you can go.
Was it a long process?
It took about maybe 6 hours for them to go to the house. Yeah. It wasn't days that I didn't get to go home. It was that night.
Oh, God.
We went home. And yeah, we stayed there. I don't know if I told you that the health visitor came the following morning.
I wasn't aware.
To see Wyatt, yeah. And she almost had, like, I look back now and I regret my reaction to her, but you could see she has a job to do. And the way I see how she saw it. She walked into my house, I was sleeping on the sofa, or I was like, just laying there.
Can I just ask, did she just walk in?
No, she didn't. The door was locked.
Okay.
So baby's dad opened the door and she stood there for a second and she was like, well, where's the baby then? You could see she had a bit of an attitude, which she was entitled to, because again, if you're walking into a situation, all the lights are off, you were just laid on the sofa, Mum, go get baby, I need to look at baby.
You know what, I'm going to disagree though in a way.
Yeah.
Only because I've had it happen to me, and I do think health visitors are quite insensitive.
Yeah.
I've been in the bath before now, and my daughter's been in a maxi cause because my oldest didn't stop screaming.
Yeah.
She had colic and everything.
Oh.
I was in the bath, and I was kind of like rocking her, and the health visitor knocked the door. She was already an hour late. And this is what annoys me about health visitors.
Yeah.
You can be late, but you can't be late.
No.
And she knocked the door, and she walked in. That's why I asked. She walked into my house. I was screaming. I thought, well, no, I'm in the bath, and the baby was sleeping. So she's kind of walking in the maxi cozy and in the bath.
But not only that, what if you were taking a nap? You're a new mother. It's like, leave me alone.
I might be out walking, she was in the appointment. Oh my God. And just the insensitivity I had. She basically said I shouldn't be in the bath with her in the maxi cozy, and I was just like, I do think they can be quite harsh, and I think they're worse when you're a bit younger as well.
Oh, 100%.
They're quite insensitive.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine going through that and having what you just went through on top. Because for me, I do, the fact that you said that, and I know a lot of other people will say it too, they are quite insensitive.
Very,
Like, what was it going to be the end of the world for her to wait a couple more seconds?
No,
it sounds like to me it happened quite fast.
Yeah,
and
it
you
did.
didn't have an opportunity.
No.
And to be honest, where's the communication there then?
Oh, I felt awful because,
Surely
again,
the hospital would have...
they should have.
They should have contacted your GP, and our GP should have contacted...
She should have never been put in that situation. Absolutely not, because I can't even imagine. No, none of us. Because I snapped. I did. I said, he's dead.
Oh.
And because I was so angry, again, she had the attitude of, where's the baby then? It's like, he's dead. Like, what? And she was like, you could see she was mortified. She didn't know what to say. She didn't know what to do. She was like, I'm so sorry. And just a look of, like, she felt awful, bless her. So she left, and those days were a blur. I didn't know.
Was she supported in any way? Like, surely as a community person, did she have anything that she signposted you to?
Well,
counselling? Did she go back to your GP and say, look, we need to get some anything?
They did offer counselling. I think it was a few weeks later they did. There was a waiting list, but they said if I was willing, but I wasn't. We dealt with our grief internally. We did. We were, and I've always said, I fake it till I make it. And don't get me wrong, at the beginning, I was broken. But as soon as the kids came home,
Back to normal.
Yes. Because again, my kids were so young, I sold it to my kids in a way when they were like, where's the baby? Where's the baby?
Yeah.
It had to be a beautiful thing. It had to.
Yeah.
It couldn't be, he's dead. It couldn't have been the same as what that poor midwife had from me.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask next, like, how do you deliver such sensitive information to such young children who just got excited about having
They were over the moon.
And they've gone over to their dads.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
So at first, me and Wyatt's dad had said, like, because obviously he was stepfather to these kids. He has been in Ian, my son's life, since he was about 6 months old, and Ian was about 2 at this point. It had to be a beautiful thing. We couldn't take away their innocence and just this beautiful spirit they had at such a young age. It wasn't an option. So we told them that Wyatt was so special, the angels realised they made a mistake and they needed him in heaven. They had to take him back because he was just going to do amazing things, and he had to go back there. We couldn't keep him. And they did. They thought it was beautiful. They thought it was amazing.
You and your partner came up with that together?
Yeah. And he was amazing through it. He carried me through it. There was moments I was starting to cry, but again, it couldn't be this horrible thing. We had to act happy so they would feel it. And the amount of people they made cry because they went to school the next day, and like I am really close with the teachers in their school, and I had taken Wyatt to the school. They had all met him. They had all came over, oh my gosh, a new baby. And the kids went to school. They had been made aware what happened. And again, the kids didn't miss any school because I was like, things will be normal. We are not taking the routine away. This is, we're going to keep things as normal as possible. So we did. I didn't do the school run. Oh, 100%.
You get that space then?
Yeah, I needed it. I needed to be sad when they weren't around. I needed to go through that. And yeah, so they went to school. They were telling everyone, my brother is an angel. And they were so proud. They were.
That is lush.
It was lovely. And then it was Elizabeth's concert on the 15th. So 5 days later. And I am always that mum that's front and centre. I will be the one crying at all times during the concert. And she was, I knew I couldn't miss her. I knew I had to be there. And the head teacher, we let him know that we were going to come down, and he was like, right, I've instructed all the parents to not speak to you. They're all away.
Yes, we supported.
They were amazing. And we got there a little bit later so we could just sneak in at the back, and Elizabeth was an angel, and I cried my eyes out. It was lovely. It was really, really sweet, and they were just absolutely amazing, the school. I couldn't have asked for better from essentially strangers. The support I received from strangers was just phenomenal. The funeral, obviously you were there, and there was, because Wyatt's dad was a part of a football club, I think it was a lot of those boys went there, and it was
just really come together.
How many people? It must have been about 100 people for this little baby boy. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy, the amount of people that were there.
It's lovely that they were there for you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we touched on this when we spoke about it before, that it is amazing, it is beautiful, and I'll never take away from that. But it was harder because I am the person I am. I hate any kind of attention or anything like that. Yeah, no, I hate it. And not only that, I have such a wall up in the sense of, don't feel sorry for me. Do not feel sorry for me. Don't pity me. I'm not a victim. I'm not, just don't. So the more people that were there, it was
harder.
You had to put on a brave face.
I didn't cry. I did not shed one tear.
Yeah.
Because there were so many people there. I felt myself inside say, turn it off. And I did. I turned it off. And I was shockingly fine, and I can understand looking from an outside point of view at the funeral, she's not even sad, because I had turned it off.
I'm glad to think nobody did think like that.
Yeah,
I done.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest. My friend died at 18.
Yeah,
and her mother didn't cry.
No,
For God, a long time after she died.
Yeah.
She'd cried, but not in the funeral.
No.
Because she had 3 other kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's quite normal.
Yeah.
I've got a job to do.
Yeah.
I don't mind me touching on this, and I don't want to make it about me, if that's okay, but I do want to touch on it because it's similar in topic. But I understand what you're saying about not wanting to be a victim.
Yeah.
Because I've said to you before, that last year, obviously just gone, in the April, May time, I had a miscarriage, but I wasn't aware I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So when I passed the fetus, baby, whatever you want to call it, some people call it baby, it depends.
Yeah.
I was saying to you, and I've said it to other people, you do get this sense of like, right, got to put your big girl pants on now.
Oh,
and get it ready.
100%. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But this is obviously, this is obviously different. We haven't.
But it's the same, it's the same feeling of swallow it, chill. Yeah, it is.
And the way I dealt with it, it's resonating with me what you're saying, because it absolutely felt the same for me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if I was burying it.
Yeah.
I was worried if I was burying it.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I going to lose it now? Because
later on, because I haven't processed. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I just think that's the way I dealt with it.
Yeah.
Because I got my own other kids.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, for me, I didn't have a similar support network with anybody, but I also didn't reach out to a lot of people because I felt as if, as stupid as it's going to sound, because it wasn't a baby, because it wasn't an actual birth.
Your feelings are not valid.
It's not bad. Yeah, I just felt like, why I'm not really that important to swim up. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror the one day and I was like, oh, why is that?
No.
And I shouldn't have. I don't have. But I remember thinking, my support network was pretty small anyway. And I didn't really reach out to anyone because I didn't know how to. Because I caught Carney such a brave face. I thought, how am I going to...
You can't let them see you.
And I know exactly what I did. I remember thinking to myself, I'm just emotional because of my wounds.
Yeah.
So that's how I pushed it down. I said, I'm just hormonal. This is going to pass. Yeah. I'm not really sad because it wasn't a pregnancy I was aware of.
Yeah.
But then later on in the year when it was catching up with me.
That doesn't make it hurt less just because you didn't know that you were pregnant. Like that's still a completely valid loss. And
yeah, the only reason I want to mention is because there's 2 totally different ends of the spectrum.
But the feeling is the same. Yeah.
I dealt with it. Does definitely feel like the way I dealt with it.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting for me.
It is.
Because I didn't know if it would feel the same.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got a physical baby that's different. But yeah, just the way you dealt with it.
Yeah. Like I wasn't great with everything. Like I said, I went to see Wyatt and that still traumatised me to this day.
At the morgue now, is it?
At the morgue, yeah. Before his funeral, got to go see him. And that was my one regret.
I've heard a few people say this. I haven't seen him, obviously, but I've seen people in the chapel rest. Yeah. And I regretted every time I leave.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would ever go again.
It was awful. It was
just not really the same.
No, that wasn't my baby. It looked nothing like him. And there was a feeling in me that knew I didn't want to do it. I had a feeling I didn't want to go anyway. And it's like my body took over because as soon as I stepped foot there, they closed the door behind me and he was at the other end of the room and I couldn't move my feet. It was like something was holding me in that spot saying, don't do it. And I did. I broke down and I was saying to his dad, I don't want to do it. And he said, like, you will regret it. And I walked over and it just looked nothing like him. That wasn't my baby. It was a shell of, it just didn't make sense. My brain couldn't comprehend what I was looking at. And I always stroked his face. He had the most beautiful, soft cheeks. And I touched him and he was hard and he was cold and nothing about it felt natural. It was one of the worst parts of the entire thing. It was traumatic.
thing is, what you do you not go and regret it? You go and regret it.
And that's what I mean. I think, yeah,
As well.
because if I didn't go, then was there going to be, she had the option to see her baby one last time and she didn't take it. Like, how awful can you be? Like, I didn't know what the right thing to do was, but I knew I didn't want to do it. And if I could go back and change anything, it would be that. I didn't need to see that.
No.
That didn't bring me comfort. That didn't do anything but bring me an immense amount of pain. I should never have done it. And that would be my advice to anyone who was in a similar situation. Don't do it.
Do you feel like that made it worse when you buried him? Because obviously you saw him and
I knew, yeah.
you had that visual.
Yeah. Because to me, he didn't look peaceful as he did when I left the hospital. He looked peaceful in the hospital. He looked like he was sleeping. Yeah. This wasn't a sleeping baby. This was a dead baby. And it was very apparent. You could see. Yeah. And like nobody says that his skin was like almost bright red because, again, he was frozen and his lips were dark purple. Like nothing about it looked... It was awful.
Like on adults, I know that they do it on
makeup, yeah.
With the babies, I don't know if they do that.
I don't think there's much you could actually do with a baby in that sense.
My friend lost a baby years ago, and I wasn't around in her life when this happened.
Yeah.
And I did the stupid thing, being a stupid, went to rape her. You know, and do the Facebook rape thing. You kind of like... make a joke. I stupidly went on her Facebook, on her phone when she was in the bathroom. Yeah. I've never done this since. When her album came up, and she had a secret album of all photos of what her son looked like when he passed. So it was on Facebook, but not too public yet. So it couldn't go missing. Yeah. And it traumatized me.
I can imagine.
And it wasn't even my baby. Yeah. And it wasn't even my trauma.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how you felt.
Yeah. And my friend, like, lifelong friend, no, I told her after I did it, I took a picture. I was like, might want to remember him like this, just not even thinking in that sense. And
you say that, but then I think maybe you're overthinking.
Yeah.
Because you got the stigma behind the other people, what they think.
Yeah.
You're worrying about that, which you shouldn't be worrying about that, but naturally you do.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to look insensitive.
Yeah.
You try to do the right thing for everybody else, including yourself. I don't think you weren't thinking.
No.
I think if anything, you were thinking a lot.
Yeah.
And you took an image of your son. Yeah. Because I do not. You wouldn't have that.
This is the last picture I'll ever have of him.
How do you feel? Like, how do you navigate that?
Yeah.
You just can't.
No.
You have to just do what you felt was right.
Yeah. But I deleted that picture later that night. She sat with me. She said, "That's not your baby. That is not your baby."
Was that a hard thing to do?
It was, but it wasn't, because I knew what she was saying was right. She was voicing everything that I weren't saying, but I was feeling. Yeah. She was, and she knows me inside out. She knew that's not a picture you want. Like, you're not going to look at that and remember your son. That isn't your son. That is a dead body, and that you should not be keeping that.
No, and some people might grieve like that.
Yeah, no, but which is completely valid. Like, everyone's different.
Put things on Facebook.
Yeah.
People post their dead babies on Facebook and how.
Yeah.
I think as well, I've also, every circumstance is different because, you know, if you think of, if you've lost your baby but you wasn't there when they died, then I've heard a lot of people say, you know, they couldn't get the closure until they went. I think
that's probably different. I think in that sense, if I wasn't there when Wyatt died, I probably would need to see him, a last time. Yeah. But I think because
it's not real.
Yeah. But because it was so real what happened, it was like, I'm the one who found him. I did the CPR. I did all of that. I didn't need to do that to myself. I had my closure.
Yeah.
I just opened a new wound. That's all I did. And I put some salt in it and some vinegar and just carried on going and pretended I was fine. And I should never have done that. I know that now, but I move forward. And like I said, I did delete that picture and that's a memory I work hard on not thinking about.
Yeah.
I put that away.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about blame and how, luckily when your partner, it sounds like, did it bring it closer?
I'm not sure. Like, obviously we're not together. But I don't think if Wyatt died, we would have been together. As long as we were together for 7 years. But I think because of what happened to Wyatt, we were moulded together. And it wasn't like we didn't get on. We were such good friends, and we are now. Like, we share a daughter now and a son who passed away, and we are such good friends. And that's all it was for a long time. And I think we were both scared to leave and be in a relationship with someone who didn't know how it felt to have your world just ripped apart and still have to walk and carry on and live your life. And
A trauma bond, I suppose.
Oh, 100%. We were just molded together through this trauma. Yeah.
Can I ask you then, so you had another child then after Wyatt?
We did. We were trying, again, looking back, way too early. We had no business trying to have another baby when we were still going through all these feelings. It was crazy.
It's not something unheard of.
Yeah, and
sometimes it's very opposite, one or the other.
I either don't want any more kids again, or I want another baby. And that was my issue. I wanted another baby, and I wanted one just like him. I needed another Wyatt, and nobody was going to tell me that I couldn't have it. But I just couldn't get pregnant. And we started seeking fertility treatment. And I think when we were booked in for our first proper appointment where they were going to help, that's when I found out I was pregnant 3 years later. And it wasn't this beautiful, magical thing that you would expect it to be, and that what I was hoping for. It was just dread, because now I know firsthand what can happen. And I barely made it through the first time. Could I make it through if something happened again? I didn't know. And
I think the worst thing about this as well is what you had was after the birth.
Yeah.
So you had it was as if so with what happened to me, it was like a 6-7 week thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, okay, I mean, it's a milestone. It's a smaller milestone.
Once we pass that, we'll be fine. Yeah.
And a week.
Yeah.
And then every day after that, this stuff felt.
And it was lockdown.
Oh, God.
We were during this time, and it was at the beginning, and it was like pregnant women are dying. And I did not leave my house. We walked, obviously, everyone walked during lockdown, but I didn't see my nan for months. My nan lived 2 streets away from me. I wouldn't visit anyone because I said, of course, this is my luck. When I finally get pregnant with this miracle baby I've been praying for years, there is a national lockdown and people are dying. I was like, oh my, global pandemic. I was like, of course this would happen when I finally get pregnant, and something is going to happen. And I couldn't breathe. It was always like I was waiting for something to happen. But
do you think that stressed you out in your pregnancy?
100%. And
do you think that stress affected the baby?
I really do think so, yeah. There was no way it couldn't have, because I was so on edge. I was trying so hard. And that's when I started cooking everything from scratch, and everything was going to be perfect. My body has done this beautiful thing, and I am going to give it nothing but the best. I was trying hard and putting my feelings on the back burner. No, you are happy, act it. You don't need to be scared, this is fine. But even when she was born, because I was counting with Wyatt, I was excited for him to get older so I could take this stupid milestone picture that I really wanted to take. So I felt like I counted his days away. When people would ask me how old Violet was, I couldn't tell. I didn't know, because I wasn't keeping count. Yeah. And she would be 12 weeks or 3 months or whatever. And I would have to stand there and work it out because I wasn't, I was not keeping track. I refused to count her days away because I was scared if I did that, somehow she would die as well. And
it's kind of a sweet lesson from a bit.
Yeah. 100%. Don't count the days. Yeah. Just be present in the days. Don't worry about how many's passed. Just be there. And I did that. And that's what I say, Wyatt taught me to live every day like something could happen in the future. Like, just make the most of every single moment with my kids. And I do. Like, there isn't. But even with Wyatt, if I could go back and do that week again, there's nothing I would have changed. I held that baby for his entire life. He was never down. He had me constantly. And if it wasn't during the day, it was at night. I had that baby in my arms every minute of every day. There is nothing I could have done differently.
And that's comforting.
100%. All that baby ever knew was love.
Yeah.
And Violet, my daughter, was the same. She got...
Because we see it a lot, do we? Like, people come in, help us as we say, oh, don't spoil them. Don't spoil your cold, pick them up.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think if a baby probably understand
love. Yeah.
Until they're old enough to understand anything else.
Yeah.
Why can't you co-sleep?
No, exactly.
Why can't you do any of them?
Yeah.
I did it with, God, I got it from an 8-year-old. I'm so co-sleeping with somebody
Yeah.
else. And I'll be doing it until the day he says, Mom, get out of my bed.
He's not going to be 20 coming in your bed. It's not going to happen. Like, it's just, this is a fraction of their life, and it's okay if they want to be around you. Yeah. And like, I can't even imagine, like, I know I said, you obviously know how guilty I felt after Wyatt, and like, I can't imagine how much guilt I would have felt if I had been letting him cry it out and listening to the midwives and just, no, he's fine, don't cry, stay there, because I blamed myself for so long after losing Wyatt, because there's all this anger and just frustration, and my child's just been taken away from me, and I was so angry, as anyone would have been, and there's just no way to put it.
Nobody to blame.
No, there's nobody. And so I thought, I blamed myself. There was so many ways I could.
It's very, very easy.
Oh, yes.
I was the same.
Yeah.
In the sense, you got no one to deliver it to.
Yeah.
And saying, this is your fault. So it's got...
You bring it back on yourself. Yeah, it's your fault. You didn't do enough. And I would always think that, because I mentioned his breathing to the health visitor. I said, like, it sounds a bit... I don't know, it sounds a bit off.
You feel like you should have...
Yeah, I should have pushed more. But then looking back, there isn't more I could have done, because I mentioned it, and she said, oh no, that's fine, that's normal, like, don't worry about it. And like, I left the hospital early after having Wyatt because I hate hospitals and I didn't want to stay, but he was fine. He was 10 days overdue, and he was £9.13 and a half. There was nothing wrong with this baby. He was perfectly, and they would have pointed something out, but I was like, it's my fault. I took him away from the hospital. I should have noticed. And you just, any kind of blame, like, I'm his mother. That is literally my job, to keep him alive. And I couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
He is dead because I didn't do enough. And that was always, and I would say to his dad, like, how don't you blame me? Because I blame me. I wouldn't be able to look at me if I was you. Because I was holding him. And it was always circling back to, I wasn't even tired. And I still went back to sleep if I didn't.
Yeah, you had that guilt.
Yeah. I wasn't tired. I shouldn't have gone back to sleep.
You were under the impression this baby was a healthy baby.
Exactly. And then it was just, and I would torture myself. It's just laziness. Laziness is why your baby died, because you couldn't stay awake. But why would I be staying awake at 5 o'clock? Because, like, I know now that wasn't my fault.
Do you think that gets better over time? Is time a healer?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like a mixture of time and talking. What do you think it is?
I didn't want to talk. I didn't. I
understand.
Yeah, I didn't. Again,
Shut down.
Yeah, don't feel sorry for me. I don't want you to talk with me about this awful thing. And
the thing is, how do you explain something that's so deep?
yeah, no, exactly.
How do you discuss something so deep when you don't even understand
Yeah,
your own pain?
and there isn't, like, this is why I was so happy to do this today because there isn't enough just awareness of all these feelings. Like, nobody talks about the bitterness and the angriness that you feel towards these people who are just out having babies. Like, I was so angry. I was. And it was always, how dare you get to have this beautiful life and baby? And
why me?
Yeah, I'm not a bad person. You could be. And I would always, and it was such an ugly emotion. But I know now, and I felt so bad for feeling like that about just these random people who deserve babies. All these people are amazing, like parents. And I just felt that it wasn't fair, and I was angry at them for having the happily ever after that I wasn't going to have. But I know now that was a process that I needed to go through. That is grief.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about that part because it's ugly.
Yeah.
It is ugly.
It is.
It's confusing and it's
It is. Like, how could I ever feel this way towards anyone? And yeah, and you see these stories of like a cat's baby's dying and she goes and looks after ducklings. Like, I'm here to tell you how true that is, because I was still, and like the physical reminders was hard as well, because again, I was breastfeeding.
Yes,
So every 3 hours, my boobs were telling me that he should be feeding right now.
That must have been really hard
It
to
was.
deal with, because you are obviously, even in miscarriage or just at
Yeah.
baby, your hormones are very, very high.
Yeah.
And they start to drop.
Yeah.
They drop pretty rapidly. And you're in a very odd space in six weeks in that time
Yeah.
after mentally.
Yeah.
And then you've got this physical, you have a natural birth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So had your dad a cesarean, things like that.
It's
All
the
these things
healing,
really,
yeah.
reminders.
Yeah.
You had a baby.
Taken away, yeah.
Yeah, this baby was taken from you.
Yeah.
Imagine, did it take long for that to settle?
It felt like it took longer, but it was probably a couple of weeks.
When then the reminder settled, do you think it helped mentally?
I don't know, because I would hear a baby crying and it would take everything in me not to go over and say, you're not doing it right, let me do it. Like, I know the baby wants this. And again, can you imagine how mental I would have looked going over to someone and say, let me take your baby, you're not doing it right. Like, excuse me, I can't even imagine. Yeah. But that's how I felt. Anytime I'd hear a baby cry, I would get a pit in my stomach and I would feel sick. And I wanted to go and help this baby, because to me, the mother wasn't doing it right. I knew she needed to do something different. And
do you think it was that, or do you think it was more a case of you wanted the opportunity to do something?
100%. That was the grief that I was feeling. Yeah. But again, nobody told me that I would feel like that. And
or help you through that.
Yeah, like I know I mentioned the health visitor. Well, after she left, it was, I don't know if they were health visitors or midwives. Either way, I had been dealing with one, and she was beautiful, loved her all the way through the pregnancy, and she came to the house to apologise for this woman afterwards. And that's where she told me that she had actually lost a baby. Her little girl had died. And we were just talking, and I think this was when I was pregnant with Wyatt. So this was a good few years later. And I said, yeah, didn't you find it so crazy how you'd hear a baby cry and like you'd feel like you just wanted to go over?
Yeah.
And this is why I'm glad to come to the pod.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really, I believe, talking to somebody with a similar experience is the best form of therapy.
100%. Because she didn't know that's why she was feeling like that. She said, stop, because you've just triggered me. She said, because I thought I felt like that because this is my profession. I am a midwife or a health visitor. This is what I do. I thought that's why I felt like that, not because...
You didn't realise probably in that time how much you were helping her.
Yeah. And it was just such an amazing moment to realise, like, sharing with people helps. Understanding these awful
Emotion.
Yeah, that you've got to navigate on your own. And like, life's hard enough without having these extra emotions that you've now got to try and figure out where they come from, why you feel like it. Obviously, you know why you feel like it, but understanding the process and going through the process is...
on reflection, do you think, as crazy as it sounds, do you think something's happened for a reason? Like, don't you find it
100%.
that Elizabeth was an angel?
Oh my God.
Sorry to go back there.
Yeah.
She was an angel and you just lost.
Yeah, and obviously she was obviously, like, they didn't pick for her to be an angel on that day that he died. She was already set to be an angel. And it's crazy because all the years before that, she had the worst parts in school. Like, I think she was a bauble the year before that. So, and then this is the one year she was like, honestly, it was a nightmare. I cut out a big, massive circle in cardboard and I did a little ring on her head. And she looked ridiculous. She looked absolutely ridiculous. And then,
usually go the angel.
yeah, this year she was this beautiful angel. And I was like, this is just sod's law. This is the universe. Just...
yeah.
Cry a little bit more now, come on.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it helped you grieve a bit?
I'm not sure. That time was such a blur that it was just absolutely mental. And like I said, I didn't show all these emotions to the kids, but I don't want that to sound like I'm saying you shouldn't, because if the kids were older, say they went through it the age they're at now, I would 100% say, let them see you cry. Let them know that it's okay to cry, because like, we'll go and see Wyatt. Like, I know we spoke a while back about it. We'll go and see Wyatt and the kids will get really upset on certain times that he's died. And
because you had to tell them the truth later on then, didn't you?
Yeah. Just on a random day, we were walking to school, and the one day, someone had obviously said something to the kids, and at first I was really angry. But then also, they didn't know that my kids didn't understand. Know. Yeah. Like, they didn't even know that he died. They thought he was taken, and it was still that they didn't understand that their brother actually died.
Right.
And the one day, they were a lot older, they came to me and they said, Mum, did Wyatt die? And I couldn't lie anymore. They were old enough. I couldn't say, no, the angels just took him away. That's all.
And that's a really difficult topic, isn't it? Like, when do you say the word dead, die, passed away? How do you tell children? Do you tell them when they're that age and just get it all the way? Because I think to reach out with it was the best way. But like you said,
you said it was hard for you sometimes because you had to hide your emotion.
Oh, 100%. And whereas if they were older, like now, if I'm sad about Wyatt, I will sit there and I will cry. And if they say to me like, what's wrong? I will say, I'm just sad. I'm having a day. I miss him. And because that's so important for them to see.
Yeah.
But with your emotions.
Yeah, 100%. And like, it was a hard conversation, and they did get really upset. And that's when I had to explain every part of it. They were like, well, how did he die? Babies don't just die. And I had to explain about there was something wrong with his lungs. They were filled with water. But then is the fear that I didn't realize I was instilling on the kids then is like, so old people are not the only ones who die. Anyone can die. Yeah. I could die, and this is what they were realizing then. And
they're having harsh reality.
Yeah. And that's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to give them that reality, but that's the hand we were dealt. That is their reality, and they needed to know.
I think that's a really healthy way to look at it.
Yeah,
that is that, like, as black and white as that sounds, looking at things. Look, I think we've all sat, like you've sat there and I've sat there and we've gone, do you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
And just when you look at it like that and think, this is the hand I've been dealt.
Yeah.
This is just got to deal with it.
100%. I can either hide from it.
A lot quicker.
Yeah.
I think.
This is where we're at. We're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Like, this is the hand we were dealt. No. You know? You're always going to carry it, and it's just how you want to carry it. It falls down to. And I'm so proud of them for how they carry it. Obviously, Violet is only 3. Wyatt would be 6. So she doesn't fully understand yet, but the kids completely understand. And like I said, we'll visit the grave and they will cry. And it's like the reaction, no, the feeling you get, like, naturally is, let's make it better. You can't. I'm not going to stand here and try and make it better for you because it's not better.
No.
It's not, oh, it's okay, baby. Like, no, it's fine. Like, it does suck. And I'm sorry you're going through it. That's the harsh reality.
It's important for kids.
Yeah.
To learn emotion.
Yeah, 100%. And like, because I know we spoke about the things people say when your baby dies, because people just want to make it better. They just say words and the things I just
say that.
Just don't say anything, because they'd say, it happened for a reason. It's like, okay, tell me. What is the reason? What is the reason?
Was it,
Yeah. And then I hated, because this one felt like it was invalidating it when someone would say, well, at least you've got the other two. It's like, all right, well, which one of yours would you like to give back? It's like, that's not comfort. I think my best advice that I felt was just don't say anything, because you're not going to make it better with these words. These words are doing nothing. Just sit there. Just be there.
Me and my friend, we used to have a thing called silent cuppas.
Yeah.
Well, the silent cuppas. And we just would sit there with a cup of tea and we would just not speak.
No. And do you know what?
Ready. And I think silent cuppas should be a group thing.
That should be done.
It should be a group
It
thing.
should.
It should be made.
Yeah.
Sort of like, just go and have a silent cuppa.
Yeah.
Just to be in company, but not talk. Because that's
Or
what
don't
you
feel like
need.
you're pressured to talk.
Yeah.
And you probably will end up.
You probably won't talk because it's uncomfortable, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
But the point of
definitely.
the silent cuppa is to be not alone,
Yeah.
and be near someone,
Yeah.
and be in each other's space, but not in each other's mental
Yeah.
space. And I think that's something that should be promoted a lot.
Oh my God, 100%. That's all I needed. You didn't need to say words to me. You didn't need to try and make it better. You're not gonna. You're not making it better. That's okay. You can't. So just sit. I'm in my storm and I am going through it. And it was something my friend said to me. She was like, I can't make this better for you, but I can sit with you while you're going through this.
Check in.
Yeah.
How are you today?
Yeah.
Do you need anything?
100%. And my neighbours were amazing through that. I like, even after going to a concert, I think that was the only thing I went to for a while. I didn't do school run. My friend was, because her kids are in that school, she would pick them up, take them to school and drop them off to me. Like, I didn't leave for a while, and my neighbours were knocking on my door. They were like, do you need anything from the shop? Just little things like that. I was like,
So you could just stop seeing people.
and like for ages, I didn't want to see anyone. I wouldn't go to the door. I wouldn't speak to anyone. And it was only a few weeks later, my neighbours had raised money for us to go towards his headstone, because that's another factor you don't realise.
Yeah, so how do you pay for a funeral that's come at a massive surprise?
Yeah.
And a massive cost.
And not just that, because she was obviously getting prepared to bring up the baby as well, you know, all the expense that goes with actually having a baby.
The only expense, because I don't know, I assume it would be, but we didn't pay for Wyatt's funeral. I think with the baby, and again, I don't know if it's for everyone, but the funeral is covered by the funeral home. The only thing we actually had to pay was for the extra car, because we needed an extra car. The one car, the funeral, was all included. We had to pay for the plot of land that we were going to bury him on. And because he was a baby and he's buried where he is, it isn't a baby cemetery. So instead of a 6-foot hole, they dug a 9-foot hole and put him on a little shelf. So then I can go there when I die.
And that obviously brings up conversations of things you probably never even thought you'd have to discuss.
Yeah.
Like your plot, where you're going to be buried, how you're going to be buried. And that whole thing opens up a massive thing.
At such a young age as well, something you don't even think that you're going to have to think of. Yeah. And I said to, obviously, his dad, because obviously we're not together anymore, and he's got a partner, I've got a partner. I said, so who's getting in the grave with Wyatt then? I said, because, like, I know I'm going there. And I said, but if you go there, then we're going to have 2 loads of partners coming to visit. It's like, yeah, well, they shouldn't be together in that plot. It's like, it's very uncomfortable. I was like, totally aware. That is very weird. We should not be sharing a plot. And
That's really, really, confusing, isn't it?
Like, can you imagine if they have kids together and they come and visit? They're like, who's this random woman with my father? And do you know what I mean? It's like, it's such an uncomfortable
Like
thing.
a family plot.
Yeah.
It's a big plot. for
Literally,
everyone.
can you imagine?
It is really mad.
Yeah.
I suppose it can be moved. Can it be moved?
I'm not sure, but I think I won the grave argument. I think that was, he was like, it's fine.
Solution.
Yes, I don't want to be buried with you, Courtney. It's fine. He was like, oh, absolutely not dealing with you in the afterlife as well. I'll go over there. That's fine. I was like, good. Not because I'm winning this argument. But no, it was really lighthearted. Like I said, we get on really, really well, which is important, I think, for our daughter as well. And
I'm pretty sure there's grief going on.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously this is not something that's ever going to be go away.
No.
We're always going to share this together.
Yeah. And like we still check in on his birthday and the day he died, because on his birthday I celebrate with my kids as if he was here. Yeah. We go visit his grave, we leave flowers and balloons, then we go home, or we go for dinner, and then we go for cake in the house, we sing happy birthday, and then on the 10th we forget. And I think that's a good way that we've set it up, because the 10th we don't think about Wyatt, we refuse, because that day holds such bad memories that we do something fun. We go to Winter Wonderland, we go to a fair, we do something really, really fun, and the kids love it. Like this year we went to the fairground and Winter Wonderland, and we were going to do ice skating as well, and just fill in this day. 100%.
Yeah.
Because
Keeps you busy.
it does. Because the year before last, the kids went away with their dad, and we have a good relationship, me and the eldest, who's dad, we do, and it's taken a while to get there, but we do. But we disagree a lot, like I will say that. And he said he was booking a holiday. I was like, yeah, absolutely fine, just not these dates. And it turned out that it did need to be on these dates. And so we fell out a bit about it. But when they were gone, it was fine. He was like, letting him FaceTime me constantly, but that was hard. That was the one year that I realised it's them. It's like,
Yeah.
it's them that's the reason I push through that day. Otherwise, I just don't bother. I just like wallow. And so yeah, I think I need him more than them, I think. But then they're older now, so they understand what the 10th is as well. So I think it all around, it does. It helps us all. And it is. I think it's important to do.
It's healthy.
Yeah. It's pushing the bad away. It's like, we're not forgetting him, we're forgetting this day. We don't need to remember this day. Let's do something fun.
It's important to remember him, I think.
100%. We talk about him every day. The kids love talking about him. They see a shiny star in the sky, they're like, look, that's my brother. Yeah. And he's like, my kids love Harry Potter. And again, my kids are the sweetest kids in the entire world. They are. But they say these things sometimes in the worst situations. And we had just gone to see Santa. I was walking through town, and I said to Yayan, what would be I can't even think of the spell now. The spell on Harry Potter, where you have to think of this beautiful, amazing thing to get the spell to work.
I know. I do know. Expecto Patronum.
Yeah, what's your Patronus charm?
Patronus.
That's it. Yeah, what's your Patronus charm? And Yayan said it would be my brother. And I was like, okay, Pat, we didn't need to do this in the middle of town because now Mammy's crying in the middle of town. Okay, let's not. And they do it sometimes. And but they're so sweet. They are. And they teach him Violet. Like, we've obviously got his hand and footprints on the mantelpiece in the living room. And she'll always say baby, and the kids are like, baby Wyatt. And I love that they still call him that. It's never Wyatt, it's baby Wyatt. And that's just the name.
It's always going to be your baby.
Yeah. And they're just the sweetest kids in the entire world. And they got dealt such an awful hand, and it sucks for them, and I wish I could take it away, but I can't. So we just make the best of it, and they really do make the best of it, because they are amazing kids.
Yeah, speaking about the kids, so when we last spoke, obviously you mentioned that it was quite important for you. Well, you wanted to get pregnant again, you wanted another baby.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned that in hindsight, you thought you was doing that a bit early, but that's a process that you go through. Just tell me about, so was it about 3 years you were trying?
3 years we were trying, and then we did finally get pregnant. We kept the gender a surprise, and I think more so because I wanted a boy. I was trying to replace this baby. I wanted this baby.
Back.
I did want another baby, but that's not deep down what I wanted. I wanted Wyatt.
Yeah.
So I wanted this baby to be a boy. So we did have a surprise, because deep down I knew I'd be disappointed if the baby was a girl. I knew I would be. I didn't want a girl. I wanted a boy.
I think lots of people, I mean, I felt the same.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have your trauma.
Yeah.
I had a daughter and I really wanted a boy. I was like, and I had a surprise. I think a lot of people feel guilty about admitting that.
Yeah.
To say like, oh, I don't want a boy.
Yeah, but you're allowed to feel that way. Yeah, that doesn't mean you're going to not love this baby.
No, of course.
It's just how you feel.
That extra thing on top of everything that you went through.
Yeah.
It has to be really like, I mean, I think you did the right thing. So
yeah.
How did it? You did the surprises and you gave birth, and that's when you did sex. So how was that?
As soon as they told me she was a girl, I won't lie, I was disappointed. I did.
You accepted that disappointment?
I did. Because I was convinced I was having a boy. I was carrying the same, but then in hindsight, I carried the same on all of them. None of the old wives' tales were affected on me. No. I looked like my nan said, a pickle on a stick. And that's what I looked like on all of them. It mattered not whether it was a boy or a girl. I was a pickle on a stick. And I was like, right, okay. And I just convinced myself so much that it was a boy, and anything that was similar, I was like, see, it was like this on Wyatt. I did this. And she was a girl. And I didn't realise until the days and the weeks following how much I needed her to be a girl.
Oh my God, I totally think you needed her.
Honestly, but because certain things, they did look similar. Violet and Wyatt, they did. And the PTSD and the panic attacks I was getting when something would be too similar.
Okay, yeah.
It was
too much.
Debilitating. I couldn't deal with it. It was awful. And I knew then that if she was a boy and she looked just like Wyatt,
it'd be more elevated.
I honestly think I would have lost my mind. Yeah. Because the panic attacks I was having just from little similarities that she had to Wyatt. And again, they didn't look identical. They didn't. He was much bigger than her.
Was she born in the pandemic as well?
Yeah, she was.
So you got this pandemic on top.
Yeah.
With this pandemic roaming around and taking anyone and anyone vulnerable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, naturally, you got a lot going on in that time.
And fair play, because of the circumstances with Wyatt, I say they gave Violet a full MOT. Before she left that hospital, she had, I was treated for strep B. I wasn't tested for it because with strep B, they said, you can test for it on the Monday and have it, and then on the Wednesday, and it not show up. So they said, we're just not going to test you and say that you have it. Because then you get a drip. When you're in labour, so when the baby does go through the birthing canal, it doesn't contract anything from you. So I was given that, and then they checked everything. They did, I think, a baby version of an MRI and everything. She had all these little bits of tape and wires like connected to her.
Was that standard because of your previous pack?
I think so. I do, because again, she was my fourth. Yeah. So I'd never, usually, you've had a baby, it's fine, goodbye. Like, it was none of that. I stayed in hospital for 4 days, which it was bittersweet because obviously her dad wasn't allowed to visit. He didn't get to see her, which I couldn't imagine. That must have been awful for him. But as a mother, yeah, he got to see her for an hour when she was born, and then he didn't see her then until she was 5 days old.
Wow.
I know. And again, there is like a lot worse situations, I understand, like babies in the NICU when they are born so early and only one parent can be there. I understand that must be horrendous. So the 5 days for him must have been awful.
Yeah.
I do understand people have worse, but just for his experience, I can imagine.
Well, yeah, he lost his last baby at 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And
bit of a trauma on top of trauma.
yeah.
It's kind of a healing path.
100%.
Like it was a really hard end to it all, you know.
It
It's
was.
never gonna end.
Yeah. You'd expect a
Kind of
little
closure.
smoother, yeah. But it was really tough. But I was so grateful. They did all of the checks. She had round-the-clock observations, which I think traumatized her to this day, though, because she hates doctors, absolutely hates them. She'll scream anytime we have to go near a doctor's. But I knew she was healthy and I needed that.
Yeah.
Because all the irrational things I would think I could always go back to, but I know she's healthy. She's okay. She has been tested.
You definitely needed it.
I did. I really did. Otherwise, you would have found me rocking in the corner. Any chance?
The thing is, it goes back to that 6-week thing as well.
Yeah.
You're very unstable.
Yeah.
Any woman is unstable in that thing because your hormones are dipping.
Yeah.
You know, you've had 10 months. It's nearly like a year of being pregnant.
Oh, 100%.
And these hormones take over you. And as soon as you give birth, they're on the decline. Yeah. They're rapid. Yeah. And then you've got this natural, like you said, triggering post-traumatic stress from having a baby. You, like you said, you're probably counting down the days.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, are we making 7 days?
Yeah.
Are we going to make 14 days? I can only imagine that's
I
what you
was. It was.
did. Yeah, I can only imagine that's what you did.
It was. It was a constant just state of fear. And again, like, not just the beautiful experience you expect it to be. It was just so scary. It really was. And it made me question whether I wanted any more. I did.
How do you go on and have more?
I don't know. I think Violet's pregnancy and when she was born made me realise that it wasn't going to be this awesome experience that my other pregnancies were, because it wasn't. It was scary. It was just, again, the idea of could I do it again? Could I make it through another loss? I don't think I could. Like, the one hit me pretty hard. I don't know if I could do it twice. And it makes you aware that these things can happen. And I think I'd never say never, because I love babies. And like, I have a partner and he hasn't got any children, and he never pushed for it from when we first met, because I laid my life on the table. I said, look, this is this. You can pick it up and take it if you want, or you can leave it there and walk away. That's fine. He decided to pick it up and put it in his backpack as well and walk with it, and he has, and he's done amazing. And I think it'll come down to whether we want to have another baby. But I know I'm open to it, and he understands that I would have a lot of anxiety like through the pregnancy. And I said, as long as you're willing to go through that with me, I'd love another baby. I'd have a football team happily. I was an only child, and
yeah,
I love it. I do.
Yeah, I know a few people who are only child.
Yeah,
only child, and they've said I would love to have massive.
I want a house full. Yeah, everyone's got someone. As soon as Violet was born, I was like, right, I need to have another one straight away, so she's got someone to play with. And everyone was like, that's ridiculous. You can't have a baby just so your child's got a playmate. I was like, no, I can. I can.
Watch me.
Yeah, just watch this space. I didn't. I was like, no, maybe not. Maybe let's just focus on her a minute, which I'm glad I did. She's she's been the baby for 3 years, and that's not just from me. The kids have babied her severely as well. She's a madam because of all of us, because we all let her get away with murder, because she's this amazing little being that we got given back. Like, this is something, a little piece of Wyatt that we will always get to keep.
Yeah.
Because is her, obviously, sibling, and obviously they are sibling. And that's another thing, like, with me and her dad, like, we knew that we weren't meant to be together, because even when we were together, we would talk about, right, even if something happens, we still need to have another baby together, so we've got a piece of Wyatt. And at the time, I didn't think anything of it, but then I was like, that's not normal to say when you're in a relationship with someone. So we knew, we were just molded together. And then not long, well, when Violet was a little bit older, then we decided, no, it's time for us both to be actually happy. Like, I love him and he loves me, but we're not in love. It was that for a very long time, and it was brilliant, and I think we've navigated it well together.
I think as well, going through that would have helped heal from the trauma.
Yeah.
Because being together was not right.
Yeah.
It would have just been a constant mirror.
Oh, 100%.
Everything you went through.
Yeah. Just staying with someone because they understand what you've been through is not an option. We both deserved to be happy, and we are, which is amazing. We've both gone on to meet amazing people and do feel this genuine love that was, like, we were both searching for so long. And like I said, my partner being so understanding, and like in regards to like Wyatt, and he's amazing, and especially for someone who hasn't been through the situation.
I think it's harder for men anyway.
Yeah.
And that's not me being sexist. Like,
no, I think they're programmed not to show their emotions. Literally, it's like it's drilled into them from when they're young.
I also think, like, as a woman, I'm in like an industry where I deal with a lot of women.
Yeah.
And I had lots of people come to me and say, I've lost a baby, or I've had a cot death, or, stillbirth, whatever. I can really feel for them people.
Yeah.
But I could never quite understand, like, the miscarriages that were early.
Yeah.
But I still felt for these people.
Yeah.
And I'm a really sensitive person.
Yeah.
Until it happened to me. Now, this is a woman who couldn't quite understand the grief of a woman as well. So to expect a man to understand is quite... It's a bit stupid, really, because nobody will understand unless they've been through it.
Yeah.
And it is that kind of trauma.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm just grateful you've come on and shared it. And, like, if there's anyone you want to shout out to that you believe is helpful, for other people, like charities or anything, do you think about it?
Oh, definitely. The To Wish Upon a Star was phenomenal, and I couldn't have asked for a better charity. They were... From the moment we lost him, something was in place where
You've taken a piece of him.
Yeah. And I said, those hand and footprints are on my fireplace now, and I'm eternally grateful that they were there and they helped as much as they did. They were just amazing. So, yeah.
So we'll put a link to their page in the description. And obviously any donations would be appreciated. So your youngest has just started school.
She has.
Violet.
Absolutely, yeah. She started last week. I was a mess, but she was so ready. She walked straight in. She did not look back. Yeah.
You almost feel like, really?
Are you serious?
You're more upset than them.
Yeah, I was holding back tears, and she walked away as if she couldn't wait to get away from me. It's like, honestly, I birthed and raised you for 3 years, and that's all I get?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, I guess this is the first time you've been kid-free?
I have no children in my house for the first time in years. I don't even know. I wouldn't even want to guess. A lot of years. A lot of years.
Nice quiet time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So you are, I think you told me you're doing some qualifications with the Open Uni.
I am.
But you've also set up a business.
I have. Yeah, I've got my own candle business, which is called Wyatts Lights.
Oh, amazing.
I thought the name couldn't have been more fitting. It works out that I can say his name even more often, which I love, because he's got a beautiful name. And I set the business up in something that I can do in his memory. And I love that, I do. And yeah, it's something I really enjoy doing. And not only that, it helps with like my anxiety. And
Therapeutic.
It is. So
Bit of an outlet.
it is. And I love it, I do. And there's so many different things I can do with it. Like, I know we spoke the other day about including
Aromatherapy.
Yeah, and just absolute brilliant idea. And I will take full credit for it.
I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to put a link to, well, your website or
My Instagram.
your
Yeah,
Instagram.
no, that'd be
We'll put that in the description so that people can check that out.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's been good. I'm glad.
And if we get any questions from people watching, we might go to getting back
Okay.
to answer if
Yeah.
you were to come back.
Yeah, happy to.
Because obviously we're looking at creating a bit of a community.
Yeah.
So if people obviously feel like they want to maybe contact you or anything like that,
Yeah.
maybe they can.
Yeah,
So yeah,
amazing.
any details would be really good for that.
Yeah. And I'd just like to remind people to, it'd be really grateful. We would be really grateful if you hit that subscribe button. It really does support the podcast and it helps us to grow. So yeah, please hit that subscribe button. We'd be really thankful.
And thank you for coming to see us at Troll & Tea. I'm Molly.
And I'm Matt. And thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Paul.
You're so welcome.